Will Brian Geraghty be making a comeback? Why did Jon Seda really get written off? And what did Jason Beghe do to make Sophia Bush quit? Hi, tryhards. I'm Dylan. Let me dish the dirt. Brian Geraghty as Sean Roman. One character with a rather short stay on CPD was Officer Sean Roman. This was a refreshingly non-scandalous exit from the show. Prior to being cast on Chicago PD, Brian starred in the award-winning film The Hurt Locker, as well as alongside Denzel Washington in the film Flight. Brian was without a doubt in demand, and Dick Wolf himself, the creator of the One Chicago franchise, specifically wanted him to play Sean Roman. Brian was able to negotiate a special year-to-year contract with the producers. Other cast members typically receive a 7-year contract, but the producers said Brian could stay on as long as he wanted. Brian had a lot of choices, and we courted him and pitched him what the show could be, and we were crossing our fingers that we'd get him, said showrunner Matt Olmstead. In total, he appeared in 46 episodes in the second and third season, after which he said he was ready to move on. I like to move around a lot. I'm an actor. I like to play all different parts, he said in an interview. When he told the showrunners of his plan to leave, they took it in their stride, even though his character had so much potential. So in 2016, after a gunshot wound left him with severe nerve damage in his arm and would force him to stay behind a desk, Officer Roman announced his retirement, leaving behind his love interest Kim Burgess and Chicago. Since leaving, Brian has appeared as a series regular in The Alienist, where he plays Police Commissioner Theodore Roosevelt. He also starred alongside Zac Efron in the crime drama Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile on Netflix. The story follows the journey of notorious serial killer Ted Bundy. Brian played Ted's public defender, Dan Dowd. As for returning to Chicago PD, Brian said, "The show's doing great, and there's no need to bring another character back. But certainly if they had a storyline that was compelling, I had such a great relationship with the show in general, but also executive producer Dick Wolf. I certainly am open to it." Which he did. He recently made a guest appearance in Chicago PD in the 2-episode crossover special with Chicago Fire. Elias Koteas as Alvin Olinsky. A shocking departure from the Chicago PD family was the untimely death of Detective Alvin Olinsky. After 5 seasons, the writers made a storytelling choice that was both necessary and challenging. Of his role, Elias says,
Listen, I've been a big Dick Wolf fan for years, and I've always wanted to be a part of something that he does.
Elias was a well-established actor long before his role on Chicago PD. He began his film and television career in 1985 with a resume filled with countless classics. He even starred in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film as Casey Jones, the ice hockey mask-wearing vigilante who carries his weapons in a golf bag. When Elias found out about the death of Olinsky, he handled the news like a professional. He understood that in terms of the storyline he was wrapped up in and Alvin's relationship with Voight, it would be a powerful motivator and a consequence for Voight's prior actions. Even so, Elias has always remained committed to the show and his character. So in the season 5 finale, Alvin Olinsky dies from stab wounds he received in prison from an inmate. In an interview with the Chicago Tribune, producer Rick Eads says, "Once that Woods-Voight-Olinsky storyline really became front and center, we started thinking of ways to dramatize it and play it through to its honest conclusion." Since his dramatic send-off, Elias has been very busy. If you miss Olinsky as much as we do, you can catch him in the sci-fi project Cypher as Texas Ranger Hal Barrick, and most recently is set to appear in the 4th season of Amazon series Goliath. He will have a recurring role, starring alongside Billy Bob Thornton as lawyer Tom True. Jon Seda as Antonio Dawson. One of Alvin's good friends and co-workers was none other than Antonio Dawson, and his exit from the series was another big surprise to fans. Jon Seda's character, the former intelligence unit's second-in-command, was no stranger to the One Chicago family. He spent time on both Chicago Fire and the short-lived Chicago Justice. Jon, who's an amateur boxer, started his career in 1992 and went on to star in Selena as Jennifer Lopez's husband, Chris Perez. He's also worked alongside Hollywood superstars Sylvester Stallone, Christian Slater, and Jason Momoa. After 6 seasons of being a part of the CPD family, Jon's contract went under review. The writers made the decision that it was Antonio's time to leave. It is said that there were creative differences, and the producers felt that Detective Dawson's story had been played out. So he suffered a relapse to his pill addiction, resigning him from the force and moved to Puerto Rico. Since his character was not killed off, there's always a possibility for a surprise return. We hope. Showrunner Rick Eads said in an interview with Cinema Blend that the door is always open for someone like Jon. Everybody here loves him. When leaving, Jon took to Twitter, saying it was an honor to play the role of Antonio Dawson, and he thanked all the fans for their continuous support. Archie Kai as Sheldon Jyn. You'll remember the cute and quirky detective Sheldon Jyn from the first season of Chicago PD. Originally established as one of the main characters, he unfortunately did not get to stick around long. Before appearing as the beloved tech and surveillance expert on the CPD intelligence team, Archie appeared in a slew of television series and films. His most famous role? Power Rangers: Lost Galaxy. Yes, that's right, Archie was the Blue Galaxy Ranger. How cool! So, what happened with Sheldon? Well, according to showrunner Matt Olmstead, it's one of those things where the story was headed in that direction in terms of needing to have a cliffhanger and a big impact of a season finale. So, season 1 ended with the regrettable murder of Sheldon by Hank Voight's corrupt internal affairs handler. Bummer. But on the bright side, the decision was not a result of any bad blood or behind-the-scenes drama. It was a writing decision. So Archie rolled with the punches and left for the sake of advancing the plot. Archie has fond memories of his time on the show, even though season 1 was filmed in one of Chicago's coldest winters. He said, "I still managed to fall in love with the place. I feel very lucky to have spent the first season in Chicago with them." Since leaving the show, you can catch Archie in a number of films and series. He's been keeping himself really busy. He scored a lead role in the Taiwanese series My Dear Boy, and he's even appeared alongside Chris Hemsworth in the action thriller film Black Hat. Whoop whoop! Lisseth Chavez as Vanessa Rojas. The most recent exit from Chicago PD came when undercover police officer Vanessa Rojas suddenly departed in the 7th season, with no explanation. The former reality beauty contestant had prior roles in episodes of Shameless and Lucifer, as well as a recurring role in Shondaland's Station 19. Her role as the tough, street-smart rookie who struggled to get on with the team in the beginning was intended to be long-term. She even started developing a love relationship with Kevin Atwater. But unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic threw a spanner in the works. Lisseth's story arc was cut short and she did not get a proper conclusion. Fortunately, you won't have to look far to find Lisseth on your screens. She's the newest recruit on the CW superhero series DC's Legends of Tomorrow. She will be playing Esperanza Spooner Cruz, an off-the-grid tech genius who believes she has the ability to telepathically communicate with aliens. Sounds awesome! Sophia Bush as Erin Lindsey. The most talked about Chicago PD departure was that of Detective Erin Lindsey. Played by the already famous Sophia Bush, most remembered for her role as Brooke Davis in One Tree Hill. Sophia was used in all the promotional material for the spin-off, having first appeared in Chicago Fire. Sophia had many reasons for leaving the show, and it was a difficult journey for her. Stay with us to find out what happened. After 4 seasons, the teen criminal, who became a criminal informant and then an intelligence unit detective, accepted a job at the FBI in New York City, was never seen again. Sophia was slated to return as a guest in the following season to tie up loose ends for her character, but she did not. And when she went public with her reasons for leaving, it became clear why. One of Sophia's main complaints was the extreme working conditions that the show put her through. She describes it as a constant onslaught barrage of abusive behavior. This included the trying weather conditions she had to endure. Chicago's weather is notoriously unpredictable and mostly consists of rain, wind, and snow. The show is filmed predominantly during the winter month, and temperatures are known to drop well below freezing. Sophia said the unbearable conditions took a toll on her body, and she was falling apart. People in the cast and crew were constantly getting sick, and she complained many times to her bosses. Their response? To threaten her into staying. She said, "When your bosses tell you that if you raise a ruckus, you'll cost everyone their job, you believe them." Sophia also mentioned a far more insidious reason for her sudden departure: a culture of harassment on set. She says that she was assaulted by an unnamed cast or crew member in front of a room of people, and no one came to her defense. This was deeply upsetting to her, and only amplified when rumors of inappropriate behavior came out against Jason Beghe. According to an interview with Deadline, Jason was accused of using intimidating language, aggressive behavior, and having anger issues. Since then, after a human resources investigation, Jason has apologized. He said, "I have personally apologized to anyone who I have upset, and I am committed to doing what is necessary to make up any damage that I may have caused." But Sophia had had enough. She said, "I quit because what I've learned. I've been so programmed to be a good girl and to be a workhorse and to be a tugboat that I've always prioritized tugging the ship for the crew, for the show, for the group, ahead of my own health."
I woke up one day and realized I hadn't had a day off in 15 years.
Wow.
And I went straight from my junior year of college onto One Tree Hill. And suddenly you realize your life is going by and you're working 100 hours a week. And what does it all really mean?
Unlike Brian Geraghty, Sophia was locked into a 7-year deal, and the producers were refusing to let her out of it, which led to her standing her ground and issuing them an ultimatum. Either she could leave quietly and how she wanted, or she would go public, make noise, and sue the network. She even said she would write a piece for the New York Times about the reasons she was leaving. The producers gave in, and Erin Lindsey was no more. As for what she's been up to now, well, her career has not slowed down one bit. She has appeared on various television shows, including a small stint on This Is Us. And more recently, she worked with Bruce Willis in the film Acts of Violence. If you follow her on social media, you'll also see she is heavily involved in politics and uses her voice and platform to spread awareness. Go, Sophia! Want to know about your favorite One Chicago series? Check out our other videos to find out what happens behind the scenes and who is dating who. Stay awesome!